Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for Decrepit Birth with And Time Begins. So if you don't know Decrepit Birth, they're more well known nowadays as a technical death metal band, but this is definitely a brutal death metal album, and back in the early 2000s they were more of a brutal death metal sort of band. I'm not as familiar with their technical death metal stuff. I prefer this, but I don't think the tech death stuff is bad, but I think a lot of people skip over this album nowadays because it's like uncool to like tech death now, but this album is fucking fantastic and one of the best brutal death metal albums of the early 2000s. So anyways, Decrepit Birth also formed out of the ashes of DECREPIT, who is another brutal death metal band from San Diego. A lot of the members went on to be in this band, and you can definitely see the influence, but this is a lot faster and more technical than DECREPIT. But anyways, awesome album cover, one of my favorite pieces from Dan Seagrave, and one of the few brutal death metal albums that's been done by Seagrave. So yeah, really sick. Also like the CG logo. There's the side text, just the band name. Picture of the band, of course. Spit out through Unique Leader Records, and definitely sounds like an old school Unique Leader Records album. A lot of blast beats, really technical, almost atonal riffs, cool looking disc. You got some like kind of atmospheric looking shit there. Band photo and all the lyrics and stuff. So anyways, this is kind of in the style of like Disgorge, Consume the Forsaken, or like the early Defeated Sanity stuff, although that came out a few years later. But really blasty and very technical. Almost nothing repeats in these songs. I mean, this takes the style of Consume the Forsaken, which I think came out either the year before this or it was either 2001 or 2002. This takes that style of Consume the Forsaken and it just amps it up really. Even less repeats in the songs. It's even faster, arguably even more technical. And they mess around with a lot of weird, like dissonant kind of chords in the middle of these fast, blasty, really chromatic, riff-ridden kind of songs. Just really fucking like otherworldly sounding at times. Production-wise, I love this album. It's got a really nice wall of sound to it, as a lot of the stuff of this style of brutal death metal should. The drums are a little on the thinner side production-wise, but don't get me wrong, they pack a punch, and they're just really that kind of clicky sounding, which I personally like. It's got a really like crackly sounding kind of snare. I don't know how to explain it, but the snare on this album has just got a really nice punch to it. It's got a really nice, I don't know, the blasts just sound very snappy. A lot of the drum rolls as well are very snappy and super fast. Just very impressive drumming on here. The guitar tone is very scooped, of course, which I love. Whenever they play a chug or something, it feels really like thick. A lot of the riffs do get a little bit buried, as with a lot of the albums of this early style of brutal death metal, but that's not a bad thing at all, in my opinion. If anything, you just kind of realize how they go the more you listen to the songs, because almost nothing repeats in a lot of these songs. It's just super technical stuff. And this is the type of album that you're going to have to listen to at least like 10 times to even get a basic grasp of it. It's not like weird, like avant-garde or any weird shit like that, but it's just very, like a lot of the other stuff like this, like Disgorge, Deeds of Flesh, Defeated Sanity, Gorgasm. You got to listen to it more than once to really understand the way the songs go. And anyways, but the guitars are just very technical, a lot of cool chords and stuff. And then the bass tone from Derek Boyer is just amazing. Derek Boyer is just one of the best bassists in all brutal death metal, and this album really shows no exception to that. His bass work is just amazing on here. A lot of cool bass breaks, especially in Condemned to Nothingness. The vocals on here are also fantastic. I'd say the vocals are one of the weaker parts of this album. They're not bad. He's not the best vocalist ever. I forget his fucking name, but I do really enjoy his vocals. He's not the most low or high. His vocals are a little bit more mid-range compared to a lot of the other vocalists of this style of brutal death metal. But his vocals are still fantastic, really fucking aggressive sounding. There's some parts where his vocals, like, you hear them a little better, like in Thought Beyond Infinity. There's one part where you can hear him pretty well, and also at the end of Condemned to Nothingness, after they play the last note of the song, his vocals keep ringing, and it just sounds really cool. But anyways, it's a really short album. It's around half an hour long, but literally like almost 10 minutes of that is at the end of the title track, which is the last song on here. There's like 10 minutes of like weird like ambient sound effect. I don't know why they did that. Maybe so that Unique Leader would put it out as a full length and not an EP. Because you chop that off, this would be like a 20-minute release. It goes by really quick. It's only 8 songs and they're all pretty short. But yeah, I think that's kind of funny. But that's one of the only things I really dislike about this album, honestly. The riffs are just fantastic. Really, like, really technical. You kind of have to wrap your head around them, and they just have this otherworldly, just chaotic sound to them. I mean, this album sounds like the album cover. It just sounds like the fucking end of the world is happening. Like, fucking universes are colliding. It's so crazy. Just absolutely punishing. This is some of the heaviest shit of the early 2000s. Some of the fastest for sure. Like I said, this takes like Disgorge, Consume the Forsaken, and just amps everything up to fucking a million. A little bit ahead of its time, but I can't think of a lot of other kind of blasturbation-y brutal death metal bands that sound exactly like this album. It's not the most copied album, but you can definitely see that it was influential to like bands like Defeated Sanity, who'd come out later, or even like Putridity, although they're much less melodic than this. There's little hints of melody in here and there. Nothing like Gorgasm like level of melody where it's like there's straight up like neoclassical parts. It's not like that, but there's some weird kind of alien like just weird sounding like subtle melody in some of the trem riffs and stuff like that. Riff wise, it's that a lot of that Disgorge style, like palm muted, like single note, really fast, like almost atonal sounding stuff. And then once in a while there's like a kind of mid-paced or like faster chug, which sounds really heavy. They do a lot of those with the more distant riffs. It just sounds so sick. Occasionally there's also some like trem riffs and stuff. There's a few suffocation-y sounding riffs here and there. But yeah, this is just some fantastic technical brutal death metal of the early 2000s. And I think it's a little underrated compared to old Disgorge and old Gorgasm and stuff like that. This sounds a little bit more overlooked. Like I said, probably because this band has more of a reputation as being a technical death metal band. But yeah, this is a fantastic album. I think I would give Time Begins about a 9 out of 10. Just absolute fucking chaos as an album. If you want some just almost atmospheric sounding brutal death metal, you will love this. Another thing, Concepting the Era of Genocide, the instrumental on this is amazing. It sounds so fucking like, it just amps you up for like the title track, which comes after, which that's one of the best songs on the album. But Concepting the Era of Genocide is just such a great kind of mid-paced, shorter, more like atmospheric sounding instrumental, but it sounds very like doom laden kind of. I feel like it would have been really interesting to see that as a album opener. I'm not sure why they put that towards the end, but I don't mind that at all. But it'd be interesting to hear that before Prelude to the Apocalypse. But I guess like with the song title Prelude to the Apocalypse, I guess that makes sense as that's at the beginning of the album. But nonetheless, that's an awesome fucking instrumental. One of the best kind of interlude tracks on a brutal death metal I can think of. One of the few like interlude songs on any album that I really enjoy. But yeah, overall, I think I would give this album a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing I don't like about this album is that ambient shit at the end. I don't know why they did that. I usually like just leave the room and leave the CD on, so cause I like to let my CDs play all the way. I'm fucking weird like that. Either that or I'll just turn the CD off. But other than that, flawless album really. Just super fucking punishing and satisfying to listen to brutal death metal. Just really aggressive, heavy, chaotic, almost atmospheric at times shit. Pretty unique for this style. So yeah, Decrepit Birth and Time Begins, 9.5 out of 10. Amazing album. And I highly recommend it if you haven't listened to that album and you're a fan of like Disgorge or Defeated Sanity. But anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.